Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'll be sharing with you a requested video on how to cut this asymmetric neckline blouse. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So to start, here is my pattern paper and I've gone ahead to mark out all my basic measurements, which includes my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, and shoulder to waistline. So this pattern illustration is centered on the neckline of the dress, the asymmetric neckline. So I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder divided by 2 plus half, and I'll come down by 1 inch. Why I added half inch to the shoulder is because the dress has a sleeve. From that point, I'll draw out my shoulder slope, and the next step is to find your chest line. To get that is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Mine is 7. And I'll make a mark at that point, and I'll go ahead to draw out a straight line at this point. So after doing that, I'll go ahead to measure my shoulder, whatever I have at the shoulder, which is my shoulder divided by 2 plus half, and I'll mark it at the chest line, extend it all the way to the up. Now I'll fold my tape into 2 and I will mark. From this point, I'll come in by half inch, and here I'll go ahead to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. After marking that, I'm going to connect from the shoulder to the half inch at the armhole and to my bust measurement at the chest line. After connecting that, we'll be working for the lower part, so I'll be cutting this with a princess dart bustier. Now I'll mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2 and extend it all the way up, and I'll just go ahead and draw a straight line. I'll go ahead and mark a dart intake of half inch here and then 1.5 at the other side. So you can also go ahead to divide it by 1 inch on both sides. You're still going to get the same result. So most times the person you're cutting the dress for is a bit busty, it's best to use 1 inch on this side and then 2 inches on the other side. So when I was cutting, I mistakenly extended my dart to the upper part. I went ahead to clean it off. So now I'll connect from the bust to the under bust, then go ahead to repeat this at the other side also. Go in with my marker and I will outline. The next step I want to take here now is to divide my armhole into 2 and I'll mark. Go ahead to connect it to my bust point. After connecting, I'll be marking half inch on each side, and I will connect this all the way down to the initial dart line, and I'll connect this down this way. So if you're working for a busty person, you can use 0.75 on both sides. So that half inch we took out, I'm going to replace it by marking an extension of 1 inch and then reconnect it back to your armhole. So next, you want to go ahead and insert your bust circumference divided by 4 here. Now consider this dart intake you have here of half inch on both sides, giving you 1 inch, and add your sewing allowance. At this under bust, go ahead to mark your under bust circumference divided by 4. Measure this dart intake, replace it, and add your sewing allowance. Now here, mark your waist circumference divided by 4 also. Measure the dart intake, replace it, and add your sewing allowance. Now you're going to connect this all the way from the upper part to the waistline. So for this pattern, I will also make use of a bust dart. So if you're a beginner and using a bust dart is difficult for you, just go ahead and use your pattern this way. So I'll transfer all this measurement to the other side, and after I was done drafting or transferring my pattern, this is what I have. So let's start with the neckline, and here is the center of my pattern. I'll just go ahead to draw out my chest line, and here I'll mark a basic neckline of 3 inches, or you can also use 3.5 or between 3 inches to 3.5 inches. On the side, at this side, I'll come in by 3 inches from the shoulder. Here I marked 3 inches neckline, and the other side of the dress I'm using 3 inches from the shoulder. So why I'm using 3 inches is that I'll use half inch to join my sleeve, and then the remaining 2.5 inches will be for the shoulder. So from here I came in, make a little curve at that point, and from there come down by 4 inches this way, drawing out a curve. So from this point I have here, I'll just extend from the 4 inches I have initially a bit down, and I'll draw out a pointy curve, so you can come down by 2 extra inches also. So from there I'm going to connect all the way to the neckline I have by the side. So this is what I have. I'll go ahead and use my marker to outline this part, outline the shoulder and the neckline of the dress, and also go ahead to outline the shoulder of the dress this way. So after I'm done, we are going to go ahead to insert our bust dart and also cut out the collar we have on top, because if you notice there's like a collar running from one side of the shoulder to the other side of the shoulder also. So now I'll get another pattern paper, and what I will do is I'll trace out the neckline. I'm trying to get the collar for this part of the dress, and I'll place it, make sure that it's touching each neckline. I'll go ahead to mark out the neckline I have on this part to the end of the neckline on the shoulder. So after I'm done marking that, I'll bring this out, and for the collar you notice that it is not too much, so you can use 2.5 inches, and while you're extending it to the lower part, you're going to go ahead to reduce it. Even if you don't want to make it that small, I don't think the collar is more than 3 inches, mere looking at what we have on the thumbnail. So from here you want to extend it, going down all the way to the other side, and while extending it you're going to reduce the size of the collar. So I'll just go ahead and trace out this part already, and after I'm done cutting it out, I'll continue extending it to the side, because the collar extends to the side of the dress this way. And all I'll do now is just to use my pencil to extend it. So after you're done joining your dress, or while you're joining your dress, you're going to attach this collar, and it's going to start from the other neckline and extend to the end this way. So this is what I have now, and I'll just go ahead to cut this out. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. You can also follow me on my other YouTube channel at Maki's Closet. There I do both drafting and sewing tutorials. So I'll just go ahead and I will cut this to the end, and after I'm done cutting out, we'll go ahead to add the bust dart to the pattern. So to add my bust dart, to get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back. My shoulder to waist in front is 17 inches. My shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5. So if you minus that, what you have is 1.5 inches, and I'll go ahead to mark it by the side and extend, and also repeat this at the other side of my pattern. So when you're cutting out your dress, you just go ahead to blend this out. So I'll repeat the same process at the other side, and with that we have come to the end of today's tutorial, because this video is centered on how to get the asymmetric neckline of the dress. So see you in our next video.